Welcome to Backstage with Geoffrey Morrissey. I'm joined today by Rostam. He has a brilliant sort of new album out called Half-Light. Rostam, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
Well, welcome to Boston. I know that you're no stranger to the area. You did a little bit of vacationing in Provincetown this summer. Tell me a little bit about that. Was that your first time in P-Town? What did you think?
No, it's my fourth time, and it's actually this summer I'm going to be spending about 5 or 6 weeks there. So.
Oh, really?
I'm going to become like a partial Provincetown resident.
Oh, that'll be nice. That'll be you, Rachel Maddow, and my old English teacher. So
there you go.
Good company there. Do you find that that's an inspiring place? You know, that they have the dunes all there for creativity, or is it just a place that you like to go and relax?
I think I see both sides of it. It's both relaxing and inspiring. Mm-hmm. But historically, I've just spent a handful of days or a week or 2 weeks. And this summer it'll be the longest chunk, so maybe I'll have some music stuff there too. I don't know.
Well, nice. Well, I wish you a good time in warmer weather than the 12 degrees that it's out now. But I was reading something, I believe it was a Rolling Stone piece, and you had said that you always want to be somewhat uncomfortable when you're making music, which was one of those things that I sort of reflected on. I went, wow, that's very cool. So with this album, Half-Light, what made you uncomfortable when making the record? How did you make yourself uncomfortable?
Well, I think one of the ways that I had to be hard on myself was with, how many lyrics went into a song. And I think that I always wanted to set out to record a song before it was written, fully written. Mm-hmm. And I found myself just kind of like adding to songs as I was recording them. And that's something that I've always done. It's something that happens a lot when I work with other artists, and it's always happened when I've made music on my own too. But I think the way that I had to be hard on myself was just to kind of like keep asking myself, like, are you telling the whole story here? Do you feel like this is like a complete idea lyrically? Because I think, it'd be easy for me to make records where it's just like one lyric repeating over and over again, and I could do 10 songs like that. It wouldn't take me very long to make an album like that. But I guess I want to try and like say everything I think needs to be said in a song or an album. And so that's why I had to make myself a little bit uncomfortable.
And what were you, I guess, trying to say with this album? What was it that needed to be said? Because I know that you were thinking of naming the album 2017, and certainly a lot personally and around you that could have been said about 2017.
The album touches on a lot of things, but I think my feeling was basically that I wanted to, make the record that only I could make and say something about where I came from and what I care about.
Well, and that's one of the things that, and I was saying this before we started rolling, that every time I listen to it, I pick up on something new. So when Bike Dream or when Guan came out as singles, I listened to them, digested them, then they come out in the context of the album, and then I hear them again, 4 or 5 months later in January, and they mean different things at different points. So is that something that you try to do, almost reward multiple listens of the record, or try and let people find new things as they sit with your work for a longer period of time?
Well, I think with a song like Guan, there's lots of different sections to the song, and maybe it takes time to sort of digest all of that. So maybe it does take a little. I've often found that the music that I love the most, first time I hear it, I'm not sure about it, but I just know if I want to hear it again or not. So maybe that's the kind of music that I'm trying to make.
That's very true. But Guan, Bike Dream, obviously in the title Dream, and then your work with Hamilton, I Had a Dream That You Were Mine. It seems that in the past couple years, the theme of dreams have just sort of been popping up in your music. Is that something that you've been noticing as well? Is there anything about the dream or something of a dream that's been speaking to you recently?
I do think maybe there's like a specific feeling or there's like a collection of feelings that are connected, and they have to do with dawn and dusk, Half-Light, which encapsulates both dawn and dusk, dreaming, spending time with somebody that you're close with, those kinds of emotions. I think they are they are connected, and I think I was interested in those.
Well, and it's interesting that you bring up mourning and things like that, because that was the next note that I had, because like mourning was another thing that I heard a lot of too.
Well, yeah, mourning is also when you remember your dreams the best.
True. Good point.
I have heard that if you want to get better at remembering your dreams, you should keep a dream journal by your bed and just write them down as soon as you wake up.
You're such a talented instrumentalist, vocalist, lyricist, but another aspect to you obviously is your work as a producer. So when you go in and you try and produce something for a project that isn't yours, whether that be, what's your goal when you go in as a producer? How do you balance how you see the song going or the album going and how the other person that you're working with sees it?
Yeah, it's interesting the way that you phrase it as like going in, because I kind of find that all the artists that I work with, we kind of enter into a partnership when we work together.
And I think that's when it comes out best. But when I'm producing for another artist, I really feel like it's my job to serve their vision.
Or serve a shared vision that we have. So most of the work takes place with people coming to my studio. So I really just want to create a comfortable environment, and I want to give them options and sort of
Like let them guide me in some ways, and let the kind of process of making a song kind of like guide us, and just like let ideas flow, I guess.
No, and how do you sort of create that trust and that sort of feeling of comfortableness where people can come in with ideas and be able to shape things in a way that maybe they weren't originally thinking or something like that?
I don't know.
You're damn good at it.
Yeah, usually it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't work, but the song comes out and people love it. So that's rare, but that's happened. Sometimes I feel like I've made like one of the best songs in my career, and I feel like no one hears it. So it's interesting how it shakes out kind of differently, and yeah, I think maybe I have some experience from kind of watching my mom and dad work together. My dad is a publisher and editor, and my mom's a cookbook author, and my dad publishes and edits my mom's cookbook, so they work on everything together, and I think seeing their dynamic probably gave me some clues as to how to be a good creative partner.
Well, there you go. I guess it all starts at home. If you had to think back to Half Light, where you had said like that you feel like you made like the best song, and then like you feel like no one hears it, what's a song that you're like people like, damn, I wish someone would come up to me and talk to me about this track or something off that record?
I don't know. That's hard for me to say though, because I kind of feel like going on tour and playing these shows, I think people are hearing songs differently now. They're seeing it live, especially the song EOS. Because I've been asking the lighting tech to turn all the lights, so then it's just
us playing the music
with the projection behind us. Last night in Philadelphia, I think I could feel something powerful in the room.
Well, nice. I hope that we can recreate that special feeling here in Boston tonight.
Look forward to it.
And then one thing that I did have to bring up is I feel like every music outlet has reminded us this week marks 10 years Empire Weekend, the debut album. When I say that album, what's the first thing that pops into your head 10 years later?
A chandelier.
Yeah. What song sticks out to you, or what?
I haven't listened to that record in a while, so it's hard to remember the songs. Yeah, I guess maybe the song Oxford Comma though, because that was the first one that we started recording.
And we recorded the drums for that song in a practice room, not that dissimilar from this kind of room that we're in. And we started that recording at Columbia, and to me that one sticks out in my mind.
Are you surprised at the attention that this is getting at 10 years? Like, to me, it doesn't even feel like that record has aged 10 years. Like, I pick it up and I could think that was made in, 2017, 2016.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I agree. And then what advice would you give to 2008 Rostam, knowing what you know now, first sort of, I don't want to say break onto the music scene, but break onto the mainstream or, getting lots of attention for it. What advice would you give that musician?
What's funny, I was very sure of myself in some ways when I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just tell myself, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I had some very hard and fast beliefs, and over the last 10 years, 12 years, I've changed as a person.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that I had those really strong opinions back then, because I think that shaped kind of what I wanted to do creatively.
Are those opinions that you still hold?
I don't know, but I think like making an album like the first Vampire Weekend album, the Discovery album, the second Vampire Weekend album. I think going into making all those albums, I had a lot of really strong, like, conceptual musical opinions about
Mm-hmm.
like what was cool and what wasn't, and what I wanted to hear in a recording and what I didn't want to hear in a recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I have different feelings now. I don't think my taste has changed, but like I think that there were some things that I was scared of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know like I didn't know how to like capture certain sounds that I heard in my mind.
So I was just kind of like, okay, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine it sounding good. But now I feel like I can imagine more sounding the way I want it to sound. And so I feel like in some ways like I'm like released from these self-imposed rules. But like I said before, I'm glad that I had those rules for myself.
Well, good. And I can't wait to hear as you discover more sounds in the future. I know that you have a busy day ahead of you, so I'll leave you with this question. What are you listening to right now? Who has
I
Rostam's?
think I like the new James Blake song.
Okay.
If a car moves ahead of you or something like that. I like that song.
And I thought of one last question. It's on the what are you listening to? Do you see yourself perhaps revisiting that Vampire Weekend 10-year in the next week or so? Or
I'm sure I'll have some reason to listen to it at some point. I'll let that happen organically.
Well, there we go. And you shouldn't let this happen organically. Go on Spotify right now and listen to Half Light by Rostam, because you will not be disappointed when you do. He's been my guest today. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.